Today I fucked up by having a healthy interest in my G-spot. For a little context, I, 25 straight male, discovered anal play a few years ago but have recently been getting more into it. Now, as anyone who deviates from missionary with their partners can relate, one of the most exciting things about a new kink is online research and shopping. One thing I don't know a lot about and was researching today is douches, so naturally I head to my regular online toy store for a browse. I'm scrolling through looking at all shapes and sizes when I see one that looks really familiar. I find a few more, big rubber bulb with a spout attached, and eventually I see a red one, almost identical to what I remember. Suddenly it dawns on me that as a child one of my favorite bath toys was actually my mum's douche. I used to use it as a jet to shoot water around or blow air bubbles in the water. Needless to say, I didn't buy one, and my memories of childhood bubble baths have taken a hit in the nostalgia department. TLDR, today I fucked up by working out that my favorite childhood bath toy was actually my mum's douche. No need to jump to conclusions. It could have been your dad's. Oh heel. Who needs a rubber ducky when you can have a rubber douche? If there was a rubber ducky in my childhood, then I don't remember it. The douche was much more memorable. How cute. Your mom used it as a water jet, too. Resisting the urge to downvote that. You got me. Rubber ducky, you're the one. That makes bath time lots fun. My son would often drink the water out of his rubber ducky when in the bath. I hope you were not like my son in that regard. Today I fucked up by not cleaning under my foreskin until I was 15. This actually happened 20 years ago and I seem to have blocked this whole ordeal out of my memory, and for some reason it sprung back into my mind today at 35. Okay, so where to start with this? When I was about 6 years old, I was playing in the pool and laying on a surfboard on my stomach, getting pulled around by a friend. My dick must have been in a weird position laying upwards, if that makes sense, and when the surfboard hit the side of the pool, I slid forward and it forced my little 6-year-old foreskin back. All I remember is a lot of crying and remember seeing a bit of blood on my dick. Fast forward to puberty and I'm starting to get an idea of what my dick should be doing. All the porn I've seen at this stage are men with circumcised dicks. I didn't have a dad around and had no idea how foreskin was supposed to work, or that I even had to clean under it. I couldn't pull my foreskin back, it was so tight around my head it was impossible without a lot of pain. It went about halfway down my head and that's as far as it would go. Masturbating was not a lot of fun, but I just thought that's what it was supposed to feel like. I also had big lumps half the size of marbles just under the head of my dick all around it that I also thought were normal. They were not. Okay, so I'm 15 and masturbating in the bathroom, as you do, and suddenly my dick got incredibly itchy. Under the head of my dick, an area I thought could not be accessed by an uncircumcised man. I started rubbing vigorously all around the head trying to scratch the itch. I pulled my foreskin back a little and my whole head was covered in smegma. Like fucking covered. I washed it off and gave my dick another squeeze. Pulled back as much as I could, covered again. I knew something wasn't right. It was getting messy and smelly, so I decided to hop in the shower at this stage. I squeezed the fuck out of my poor dick, focusing on the little marble-sized balls under my head. I don't know if it was the heat of the shower loosening up my skin or my utter fear and panic, but all of a sudden my foreskin just slides back and reveals the most horrific scene under the head of my dick. It was probably a shot glass worth of smegma caked under there. Off-white and pale yellow of the smelliest cottage cheese-like substance. I cleaned my dick for probably half an hour after that, making sure it was spotless. All underneath was red raw and very wrinkly, like when you've been wearing wet socks all day. It stayed like that for about a week before healing up, and now it looks normal. I just remember being so happy I finally had a normal dick, but also being disappointed that my dick was now half the size. Too long didn't read, didn't clean under my foreskin until I was 15, resulting a heap of smegma caked under the head of my dick. I'd read it. I'm a head out. So I guess kudos that you learned before a girl freaked out and embarrassed the hell out of you. If it was the girl's first time, she might have been traumatized by op as well if he hadn't cleaned up by then. Imagine him asking for a blowjob. I want to go back in time and prevent myself from reading this, so at least there's one timeline where I didn't read it. r/I bleach to anyone that needs it. I always wondered what the end of the internet looked like. Today I fucked up by trying to give a waitress I liked my number. This happened within about 2 days or so. I promise the title sounds worse than it is. I'm not that kind of customer, literally the exact opposite. Shy, awkward, etc. Only this time I shot my shot. Never again. I go to this local diner relatively often. I've been going there for years and get a burger with fries. Really small and not a lot of workers. Maybe 15. I went after work a few weeks ago and noticed a new face. She seemed nice and we had a pretty short conversation. Keep in mind this diner is kind of a do-it-yourself type thing. Refill your own drinks, etc. So the waitresses/waiters really only serve your food, and that's about it. So there's no real reason to tip them personally. They do have a tip jar where you order your food, but that's it. So I know she wasn't just trying to get a tip out of me. We met eyes a few times and she seemed to always fix up tables near me, often checked up on me. At first I thought it was just something she did, but I noticed she hardly gave anyone else as much attention. Maybe it's just my hopeless romantic talking. Fast forward to tonight and I decide to head over after a 12-hour shift. I was craving a burger and getting to see that waitress was A+. Blah blah blah, I order my food, eat, finish up. But after talking to her briefly from time to time, I left her a $5 tip and on the receipt, I left my phone number. Felt a little bold. Figured the feelings were mutual. So a few hours went by, and I got a text. I was so surprised and happy. I texted her for a little bit, to later realize, it wasn't the same waitress. It was a completely different girl. Little had I known, this different waitress was giving me a few stares too from what she told me. How she always looked forward to seeing me, all the stuff you wanted to hear. Well, my entire soul crushed when I found out it wasn't the one I had hoped for. And I still need to explain that there was a misunderstanding. Now I can probably never go back to that place again and not feel awkward. Too long didn't read. I'm a long-time regular at a diner. Saw a cute waitress, talked to her whenever I go there, decided to leave my number on a receipt. Completely different waitress whom I'm not /interested in the slightest, texted me instead. Soul? Crushed. Awkwardness. All-time high. Hotel. Trivago. Edit, for those saying she probably gave the receipt to the other waitress, you're probably right. I have no idea how the restaurant scene works, so it's plausible. I'm assuming the other waitress just bussed my table and probably thought it was for her. Again, not sure how that whole thing works. Edit 2, Lamau 2 Silvers WTF, thanks. Oh man, that's so brutal. You gotta give that receipt directly to her or something. I'll be honest, I don't think you blew your chances and you can definitely go back to that diner. I've had people leave me numbers and I completely ignore them and they still come back and it's not awkward or anything. Only awkward if you make it awkward. Still shoot your shot with that other one. But let the other girl down real easy. There's a 50% chance she gave the other waitress your hash. Maybe higher. Best to run. Left my number for a cute waitress one time. She handed it to the male chef as a joke and he texted me pretending to be her. Kinda started to hit off until the fucker sent a selfie. The waitress ended up contacting me the next day though, so happy ending. Happy ending. I'd go back and tell the waitress that you actually that you actually wanted to give her your number. It could still work out, smile. And his soul could get crushed again and make it even more awkward. Sounds like Alan Jackson's I Don't Even Know Your Name.